Deryck teaches Tableau, Lesson 2. In these next few set of lessons, I'll be teaching you how to use Tableau. As if you are a perfect beginner, you've never been exposed to Tableau, these lessons are a great way to get a good introduction. So I've downloaded my 14-day trial of Tableau. And I'm just going to open it now. And this is what it looks like when you first get it. Today's lesson, we're going to take two files of different formats, connect them, merge them together, and then analyze the data. And the data represents ticket information, purchasing information from an airline. So I'm going to open up Excel, and I realize it says inspection data. It is actually ticket data. I've given the file the wrong file name. I'm going to open it now. And the Excel spreadsheet has two sheets. I'm going to drag tickets here into the source data pane, and then at the bottom here there's a preview pane that shows the data. Now I'm going to add the ticket, some more of the route information that you'll see here. It's in the CSV file. It has the route information, some codes, and destination and source locations, some numbers and some pricing information, some travel distance information. So I'm going to add it here. I'm going to choose text file, airline route, open it, and immediately you can see that the airline route raw data automatically joins to the ticket data, because in both tables the field called route code connects to one another with an inner join. And if you look at the data preview, you'll notice that there are two kinds of data with two kinds of colors. The yellow or gold fields are representing the airline route data, and then the ticket information are the blue columns. So we have a join now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start analyzing the data by selecting the Sheet 1 tab. And then we're going to start dragging and dropping the fields. We're going to focus on the route code. So I'm going to take route code, I'm going to put it in columns here. And immediately I get columns with the labels of the route codes. Then I'm going to take route codes again and put it in the rows. It's not going to show me anything useful because I'm using two dimensions. So I want to change one of the dimensions into a measurement, because in order to get a good visualization of anything in Tableau, you have to put different dimensions, and you have to put dimensions and measures into the visualization in order to get a proper graph or visual of what you're analyzing. So I'm going to drop down route codes. I want to count the number of times a route code, because in our raw data each line represents a ticket sales. Ticket sales with different ticket numbers. So route codes, I'm going to hit this drop down box in this pill. The blue pill will turn into a green pill when I hit measurement and count, and I get bars of graphs. So you can see by each route code which of my routes has the better sales. And then in order to get a better separation of my routes by ticket sales, I can go back to the route code field and drag the field onto the color area here in the marks pane. And now I have a nice bar graph with different colors showing me my different routes and which routes have the better sales. I just happen to know by the code that MIA to VAC is a route that represents travel between Miami and Vancouver. VAC to CME, I believe that is Vancouver to Cancun. I can show you later on how I can get the actual names of the cities and countries here, but for now we are just going to refer to our text file if we need that. But lesson 3, I'll show you some more fancy things. So there's our routes and the ticket sales. The data represents all 3 years of our ticket sales. What I could do is, if I want to visualize the data by a pie graph, I want to see which ticket sales has the largest or smallest percentage. I can change my visualization to any visualization that I can't. I can't choose every visualization for the kind of data that I have. There are probably some visualizations that are not appropriate. And what can help me is the Show Me button. So once I click the Show Me button, you'll notice that the visualizations that are not preferred are sort of gray and dull, and the ones that are preferred are actually a lot brighter. So you notice that there's a heat map style graph. There are stacked bars here, and then there's also this pie graph. So I can click this pie graph, and it'll give me a pie of all the different root codes in a pie. And if I click the Show Me button again, the legend will reappear here, showing me the different root codes by color. So if I want to, I can move my legend to the other side. Sometimes it'll allow me to go to the bottom. It's not working today. Just 1 minute. There. I want to, the pie graph isn't looking very useful. So what I would like to do is I would like to show the different labels of the data in each of the sections of the pie. I do that by first selecting one of the sections of the pie, and I can keep or exclude. But what I can do is, once I've selected that section, I can right click and it'll give me a drop down menu going down to Mark Label. You can see it's automatically. What I need to do, though, I don't want to manipulate the data label for the one section. I'm going to select all so that I'm selecting all of the sections, and then right click again, Mark Label, and show always. So what I have now is I have the total ticket sales by route, but what I want is actually a percent. So you'll notice that when I change the ticket sales, some new data appeared in my marks pane. So I can change the count, because what is showing, these labels are showing me a count of the ticket sales by each section, by each angle. So what I can do is I can change the label by angle from count into a calculation. So what I do is I do a drop down of the route by count section. So I hit the drop down box, go to quick table calculation and percent of the total, and immediately I get some percentages. The percentages are sitting in the air. They're still very difficult to identify. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drag the root code again onto angle. Oops, on to angle. Oh, that didn't work. So just going to remove this. I can also hit the back button if I've made too many mistakes. The better place to put root code is on the label, so that's what I'm going to do. And it's removed my my percentages. I can always go back and redo it. So measurement, count, select, quick table calculation, percent of the total, and then redrag route code onto label. And now I have percentages and root codes. You notice that again, some of the labels have disappeared. I just can click one section, right click, select all, right click again, go to market label and always show, and then they should all appear. This still looks pretty terrible because all of the labels are overlapping. So what I can do is I can change the size of the whole pie graph by simply going and clicking size and then changing the size of my pie. You notice now that my pie is getting a lot larger than my active area inside of my palette here in the working area. So you'll notice that when the cursor is dragging to over these invisible borders, it changes into a double arrow. So you can grab the end of the active working area inside of your the active work pane here and increase the size of the graph. And then what I can do is I can manipulate the graph so that it creates more room for all of my labels. There we go, almost done now. My graph here. Root codes by percent. So I have most of my ticket sales, 17.28% on my route that represents routes between Miami and Vancouver, and the rest are smaller. The next popular route is between Vancouver and Cancun, Mexico. I just happen to know that because I made the codes, but there's a number of ways to manipulate the codes with some joins in order to dump in the destination or source route, which we can go over next time in lesson 3. For now, let's rename the graph. So I'm going to change this to routes by ticket sales, routes by ticket, tickets purchased. Or actually, what I should do is name it tickets purchased by routes, which would be a more accurate, by route code. There we go. If you recall, this data represents 3 years of data. So I only want to look at 1 year. Suppose that I only want to look at the year 2013. I can go back here to data flight, drag it here to the filters, select years, next, and then only select 2013. Apply, OK. So this data is joined by ticket sales and route data and has an inner join. But what if that connection is actually limiting the amount of data that I want to analyze? What if instead I want to open and look at every ticket sales that's happening? Because if I go back to my source data, if you recall, there was a route code called repair. And if I scroll down and take a brief look at the route codes that are in my data, repair isn't actually showing up. The reason repair isn't showing up is because I'm joining by route code to my ticket sales. And you'll notice that my route data doesn't have a code for repair. So all the records I have for route code repair are actually being left out of the data. I can change that by changing my inner join to a left join. And then I can refresh my data here with the refresh button. If I scroll down, I should start coming across to repair code. You'll also notice that sometimes what will happen is the airline route data will show a null where there's no repair code, or where there is a ticket sale for actually a repair function. Although because this is not all the data, this is only a preview or sample of the data, it might not happen. But I do know that the left join will include all my records from tickets, but only some of the records from airline routes. Whereas the inner join, the purpose of the inner join is to make a connection, a discrete connection between records and tickets and records and airline sales by route code. And if the route codes don't match for some of the ticket sales, they'll not appear in some of your data. Well, something interesting has happened to my visualization after I've made my outer join. You notice that now my repair has shown up as one of the categories in my data here in the pie graph, whereas it didn't before. And then we can switch back and forth and analyze the data. So I'm going to go back to inner join, refresh my data, and then you'll notice the repair category has disappeared. Let's go back and analyze the data with the repair code. Refresh sheet 1. What I can do is, if I want this repair to stand out, I can actually create an alias label. And I do that by going on to the legend here, selecting repair, right-clicking it, and the edit alias is what I want to select. I'm going to put stars at the beginning and the end of repair. And there it is. So repair is here. What I would like to do, though, is I will leave this for now. And I'm just going to arrange my labels. 17.88% of the number of times that my airplanes are traveling are because of repairs. So my repair and maintenance crew are flying the planes in this airline quite a few times in order to test that. That could be a cost wastage, perhaps. It's an opportunity for cost savings. Maybe I want to change the way in which my repairs are happening, or change the ways in which my repair staff are operating in order to not incur these costs. This is happening for 2013. I wonder if it's happening for other years also. I'm going to rename my sheet now. We'll call this 2013. Route frequency. Then what I can do is I can copy this and paste the same graph into my Tableau book. And I'm going to rename it 2014. In order for this to show me data for 2014, you'll also notice that this graph is being blocked. So I'm just going to change my sizes here. I don't need this count root code, so I can hide this if I want to. Same here. So for 2014, I need to change my filter. Edit filter, remove 2013, add 2014, and then apply. For 2014, you'll notice that the number of times airplanes are traveling for repair functions has gone down quite a lot. So it looks like our maintenance staff for our airline are getting a lot better, because in 2013, airplanes for this airline were in the air for repair functions 17.88% of the time. But for 2014, they're only in the air 6.47%. Let's compare that to 2015 now. So copy, and then paste. Change the label on my worksheet here to 2015. Edit filter, 2015, and then apply. Oh, it's really tiny now. Oops. Definitely a small part of the pie. It's only 2.40. So our repair and maintenance staff have made a huge improvement in reducing their costs and reducing the amount of time they spend with the airplane in the air. My labels are getting mushed together. There we have it. And then let's change the title on our we're going to change this to route frequency 2013. Same here. (2014). Then we'll change this to 2015. What I have now is a little story that I can tell with these three graphs. So if I scroll down from the most recent to the oldest data that I have, I see a trend in which the amount of times that the frequency of these routes traveled for repair functions has gone down from 17.88 down to 2.4. I want to put these three bar graphs, or I should say pie graphs, into one view, into one visual, like a dashboard. So I'm going to open my dashboard, and immediately you can see that what's available to me are the three graphs that I can drag and drop into the sheet. The dashboard section it's a function in Tableau, and if your business or company is using Tableau server, what this function can do is that if your data is active to any of your graphs and visualizations, once you make this, you can send it to other employees and it will automatically refresh. So if the current year is 2016 and you have your route frequency to date for 2016, as 2016 passes, it'll actively update and give you changing ratios for the values that you've graphed. So for now, let's figure out how to create a dashboard. And it's actually very easy. All you have to do is just drag and drop the visualizations into the dashboard. And then there's a function to automatically size them. I'm going to get rid of this, the legend here. And then what I can do is I can automatically size the different graphs by way of a sizing function. So I can change the sizes here and making sure that the borders of each of my visualization occur. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But in order to create and then fit each of these graphs, there's a function to automatically size them so that they all fit. And I believe that's this drop-down box here. Title, here it is, fit. There we go. So drop down, fit, entire view, drop down, fit, entire view. So my 2013 graph is a little big. I can actually resize it if I want to. how that looks. There we go. And so here's the completed visualization. Now there's a way of zooming in and out, and there are a number of other different options that you can do in order to size each of the visualizations. But I'm not going to go into too much detail into that. Essentially, this is designed to fit on a normal computer desktop. There are a number of options to change depending on what your users or your company internal customers are used to using. You can change the dashboard to fit a laptop or a cell phone, or you can set the standard size of the visualization according to a certain paper size. And then if you want to publish the visualization, especially if you want something dynamic, you can go here and click Server and publish the data source. Or you can send it to the Tableau server and save it to a public view. And you can, if you have an account password in your company, you can log in and publish the view into a dynamic space in which your management staff, your internal customers can view the dashboard and in a dynamic fashion. And that's lesson 2.